What's up, guys? It is Monday, October 8th, and this morning I posted my daily listing challenge in the Facebook group for this week in reselling. And as I always do, I put my own personal goal, which was 40. So let's take a look at the momentum board. Just want to remind you guys, I didn't come up with the momentum board. It was a Crazy Picker Life, a really awesome YouTube channel that started this whole thing, and now a lot of people are doing it. And personally, it's really helped keep me accountable for how much I'm listing every day and kind of focus on that instead of sales. So I did hit my goal today, 40 listings for $10.50, and 10 of those are auctions for baseball cards starting at $1. So, you know, the listed price probably doesn't, really reflect that, because they should bring, I think, around $40 each on average.
Irving took me out and said that everybody in the band thought that it was better if Don sang that. And it was a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow.
So I've been watching this documentary on Netflix called The History of the Eagles. So if you guys are into the Eagles at all, highly recommend it. It's really good. They've got old home videos. They've got a lot of really good interviews, and they kind of tell the whole story from the beginning. I think this is part one, and it's like 3 hours long. So if you got some time to kill while you're listening or doing something, I'd say definitely check it out. But it's on Netflix, so you gotta have Netflix to watch it. Somebody in the Facebook group for This Week in Reselling had a baseball that had some signatures on it, and they weren't sure if they were real or not, so I thought I would show you guys sort of a quick way to tell the difference between stamped signatures or facsimile signatures and real signatures. So you'll see a lot of baseballs like this one, and they'll have stamped signatures on them. And one of the easier ways to tell if they're stamped or like facsimiles is if they're very consistent. So very clean, consistent throughout. They're not darker in one spot than others. And a lot of the toning is the same. For example, like certain ones haven't faded more than other ones. That's usually a good way to tell. And if the locations are very clean and tight is another good way to tell if they're stamped. So here is one example of one that is not stamped. These are pretty faded, but as you can tell, some are more faded than others, and like there's a gap here, like there's no signature there. Here's a couple here. Here's one on the front. Looks like these have two different, like that's a different shade of blue than that is. So that can usually give you an idea. Also, just within one signature, you can see like start points. So like it'll be darker where they were pressing down harder on that B than it is at the top of the B. And we are going to talk a little bit more about this baseball later, because this is an interesting one. Pulling some stuff out of storage to list, and I'm also putting some shoes in storage. I got some new shoes the other day at a store marked down pretty low, so I need to store those. Storage is looking fairly empty, actually. But yeah, it's got some empty racks. I need to reorganize a little bit, but I do have some stuff I'm going to bring home to list on eBay. Just different stuff like Scrabble. Here's like some signs. I got a chess set, some new VHS tapes, a Mickey Mantle bat, just a little bit of everything. I just heard on the radio that the new list of the nominees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame are out. There's 15 nominees, and the way it works is the top 5 vote getters are inducted. So I'll read these off to you, and I want you guys to tell me if you had to pick 2 of these to induct into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which ones would it be? And I'll tell you my 2. Alright, so we've got Radiohead, Rage Against the Machine, Janet Jackson, Roxy Music, Stevie Nicks, The Cure, Def Leppard, Todd Rundgren, Rufus and Shaka Khan, LL Cool J, The Zombies, Devo, John Prine, MC5, and Kraftwerk. For me personally, number 1 would be Radiohead, just because I think they've kind of they created their own sound. Like nobody sounded like that. They really did their own thing, and it really kind of revolutionized a lot of the music to come after them. Like a lot of, you know, alternative rock and rock now today was influenced by Radiohead, in my opinion. And then my second one, this is really tough because there's a lot of these that I would put in. And this isn't personal preference so much as I think it is just influence and everything they did. I would probably say Stevie Nicks. God, that's tough. Either Stevie Nicks or Def Leppard. I'll go Def Leppard. Alright, so my two are Radiohead and Def Leppard. You guys let me know what your two would be from that list in the comment section below. I'd like to hear it. I'll give you guys a little insight into some of the thought process that I have when I'm listing an item. I bought these Franklin Mint daggers or knives or whatever you want to call them. I bought them at a yard sale, gosh, probably 2 months ago. I got 4 of them or 5 of them, and I paid like $100. So I'm into each of them for like $20. And I didn't do a lot of research at the time. I just kind of did some quick glances. I'm like, okay, it seems like they have some value to them. So this one right here, I found it, okay. So I found it on eBay. It is the Dragon Master. There are 12 active listings. And then what I always like to do is I'll do a completed list. I do a completed search. All right, so I got 10 results, and of all those completed, there are a lot of red, which means they didn't sell. Okay, so you got them anywhere from like $40 all the way up to $150. This one even had $30 and didn't get any bids. But if they put them on auction, that might not be a total. It might not be a good representation, because if you only have them up for auction for a week, that buyer might not be looking at them that week. You know, this might be more of a long tail item. So back to the completed listings. 10 completed listings, 1 actually sold. So that's kind of scary. It's kind of telling me there's not a huge market for this thing. That span was of about 4 months. So this could be a pretty long tail thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the active listings. Alright, so of the 12 active, looks like the cheapest one is $30, but theirs is used. I've got the box with mine. And then it's going around, you know, 75 and up from there. So I think I'm going to price it at 50 or best offer and just kind of let it sit. And it might take 6 months to sell, to find somebody that's willing to pay, you know, $35-40 for it. But yeah, in hindsight, maybe shouldn't have bought these. Not really a whole lot of meat on the bone left on these, and the market's not quite as good as I had hoped for. This has to be one of the strangest things I've ever found. This is a Daikin call diverter. It comes on, the light comes on, and it's got these dials. I guess you put the phone number in, and then you would divert it. So if you get a call, you would divert it to that number, I guess. I really have no idea. It has the instructions somebody hand wrote May 31st, 1979. The Daikin is a very important addition to your telephone system. To obtain the best results, we recommend that you follow these instructions carefully. Pretty wild. I paid $5 for it. I got it, gosh, probably 2 or 3 months ago. I'm hoping to get 50, maybe. I'm going to clean it up real nice and list it. Show you guys a quick tip here. I've got this poster that I want to sell, but it was rolled up, which makes it really hard to photograph. So what I did was I took some painter's tape and I taped it to the poster tube, okay, the outside of it, because it's non-abrasive, it's not going to hurt it. I taped it all along the edge, and basically what I'm going to do now is roll it up so that it'll lay flat so that I can take a picture of it. So I'm gonna roll that up all the way. And honestly, I might have to let this sit for a while, maybe like 10-15 minutes, something like that. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and just tape this front part down too, just so that it stays flat for a little while. All right, so I got that end all the way taped down, and I'm gonna let this thing sit for about 10 minutes or so, just to kind of, you know, get it into shape that I want it, and then we'll check back in on it. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and untape this thing and see if it will hold flat for us. I always peel off painter's tape really slowly when it's on some kind of paper or poster like this. Alright, this is already looking really good. Look how flat that's laying. I just gotta take this part off. Alright, all the tape is off. As you can see, didn't do any damage. Actually a pretty cool poster. I got this for $1 a couple weeks ago. And it's signed by the artist, Soders, I think is his name. Right down here. Yeah, this thing's over 20 years old, but it's in really good shape. It should sell for about $40, but it's going to be a long tail item. Just a quick note though, guys. This poster is pretty thick and was able to withstand the painter's tape pretty well. But if you've got a really thin paper poster, you probably want to get an additional piece of paper or something thick around that tube to protect it. So just a heads up, really thin paper might not do too well with the painter's tape. I bought these like safety hazmat type suits at a garage sale a couple months ago. I paid $5 a piece for them, and I just got around to listing them the other day, and they all sold in like 24 hours. And it just hit me that they're probably going to be used as Halloween costumes, you know, Breaking Bad or something like that. But I got $20 a piece for them, plus shipping. So I recently bought a lot of sports memorabilia, kind of like a collection of stuff, and it was from an auction. I found this ball in the bottom of the box. Okay, so this right here says Schoolboy Row. So I did some research on the guy, and played in the major leagues, really good player. And I read, you know, the history of him and everything, and he actually passed away in 1961. So this one is signed, parentheses, in 1962, which is a little bit curious. So the baseball is a reach baseball, official American League, William Harridge, president. So it's from either the 40s or the 50s. So the ball is old enough for Schoolboy Row to have signed it. I looked at a lot of the signatures online, and it matches up pretty well, but you still wonder why he would write 1962 on a ball if that year had not even came to pass yet. A little weird. There's a lot of other signatures on it too, but they're pretty hard to make out. I mean, they're really hard to make out just because they're so faded. But it, you know, it looks like a team sign ball. Now, typically on team sign balls, the coach or the manager will sign the sweet spot. But I couldn't see where he ever really coached or managed. And you wonder if somebody was going to forge his signature, why would they write 1962 knowing full well that he died in 61? So this is a really, really strange case. What I decided to do is put it on eBay. Now this ball itself, just this reach baseball, is worth a couple $100 without any signatures. So I decided to put it on eBay, you know, called it what it was, a Reach American League ball with signatures. And I started at $1. I said none of these signatures are authenticated. You know, please see all the photos. And I just took a lot of photos of this thing. So I'll let people, you know, judge for themselves. And I'm not going to represent it as something that it's not. You gotta be really, really careful when you're dealing with any kind of autographed memorabilia, things like that, because there's a lot of fakes out there. This could be a fake. I don't know. I'm not representing it as real. So whoever wins it is just getting the ball as it is. But yeah, pretty interesting case here. I've never seen anything like it.